working on the lecture for 3.3, and I've got to get my pen so that it's drawing. There we go. Alright. Slope. What do you think of when you hear the word slope? I think of like a hill or a road. And it's how fast it goes up or down, how steep it is, how shallow the slope is. So slope is the ratio between the vertical change. Remember ratio, you always state the top, the numerator first. So this is vertical to horizontal. So we have the vertical change, delta V and delta H. Okay, the steepness. Here's our formula. Rise over run, y, the difference in the y's over the difference of the x. Rise rhymes with y's, so it's y's over x's. Whoops, that's an s. Alright, given 2 points along a line, you can calculate the slope of the line by subtracting them. Given the points, use the slope formula to calculate the slope. Okay, I'm going to give you a hint because one of the biggest mistakes students do is switch up their points. So let me show you. Okay, I don't care which one comes first, but it has to be first for numerator and denominator. So let's do, if I take the big numbers and subtract the small numbers, I'm going to have better numbers. So y over x, 4, 3. 3, 4 is my point, right? That's all, both coming from the first point. Now I'm going to subtract this point, so y's on top, x is on the bottom. There we go. Now it's all correct. 4 minus 1 is 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. So my slope, known as m, is 3. All right, again, I'm going to look and take the bigger numbers first. So y over x minus y over x minus a minus 1. Remember, that makes this plus a plus 1. 4 minus 3 is 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. Whoa. So, 1/3 is my slope. A rise of 1 and a run of 3. Choose a number. I'm going to choose these. 5 over 3 minus a negative 4 minus 3. Okay. Plus a positive, this becomes 9. Uh-oh. Okay, this should be my red flag warning. Okay, red flag warning because you cannot divide by 0. That's a no-no. That means undefined. So what kind of line has an undefined slope? Well, let's think about that. If I have rise over run, this has a 0 run, which means it has absolutely no change in its x value. So it's a vertical line. If it has absolutely no change in its y value, it's a horizontal line. So that has a slope of 0. Undefined. Actually, that's empty set, but anyway. Okay, the x-intercept is 9. Well, what does that mean? X-intercept of 9 means 9, 0. So now you have 2 points. 0 over 9. Y over x. Minus y, negative 2, over x of 5. Well, that becomes plus a positive, so it's 2 over. 9 minus 5 is 4, so it's 1/2 is the slope of that line. Reading the slope of a line off of a graph. Well, there's 2 ways to do this. First, just read the graph. Mark 2 points along the graph where the x and y coordinates are whole numbers. Then count the number of spaces you go up and the number of spaces you go forward or backwards, and you change that to rise and over run. Now, Remember that if you count up, it's positive, but if you count downwards, it's negative. If you count forwards, it's positive. Backwards, it's negative. Here, let's see what this is talking about. Okay. Up is positive. Forward is positive. Down is negative, and backwards is negative. Okay, so to go from here to here, I go 1, 2 in the x direction. And I go 1, 2, 3, 4 in the y direction. Forwards and up. So it's going to be a positive slope of 2. Now, you read a graph the way you read a book, left to right. When we read this direction. So if your line is rising as you read this graph, that means it's going to have a positive slope. If, on the other hand, it was falling as you read it from left to right, it's a negative slope. All right, so what's the slope of this line? So we're going to find the points. That is 0, negative 2. And then it looks like I have negative 1, 1. So I can either count this or I can do my math, right? I can do my rise over run through the points. I find counting easier, so I go backwards 1. X direction then is a negative 1 because it's backwards. But I'm going up 1, 2, 3, so that's positive. So my answer is a negative 3 slope. Now, if I had done it the other way, I could have done 1 minus a negative 2 over negative 1 minus 0, which would have given me plus a positive 3 over negative 1, which is what I had up above. So it's the same thing. That's how it works. Okay. Now, you go off and do this one. I'm going to give you a few minutes. You try it. And then we'll see if you got it right, and we'll explain it. Okay. That was my Wheel of Fortune wannabe thing. Okay. So, we're going to look for the slope. Well, it looks to me like it goes through 0, negative 1 here. And I like to look for the next spot it's crossing the two coordinates. So that's a negative 3, negative 1. Okay, so I go down 2. So my vertical change is down 2. And backwards 1, 2, 3. So I go down 3 in the horizontal. Well, these cancel, and I have a 2/3 slope. Right? The other way we could do it with the points. That's a positive 1, not a minus 1. I'm going, wait a minute, that's not going to work out. So I have 1 over 0 minus a negative 1 and minus a negative 3. Well, these become plus positive, so I have 2/3, which, check. That's what the other way came out with. You choose whichever way works for you. I will not have you find it both directions, both ways on the same graph. Do what you're told, but if they don't specify, then you can choose how you find the slope. Okay, we've been talking about this a couple of times. Slope of a horizontal line. Here's my axis. So remember, a horizontal line is this direction. Notice it's crossing the y equal. So this is the 0 rise. Sorry, it's not y. I'm looking at the slope. 0 rise over an infinite run. That's a 0 slope. A vertical line has an infinite rise over a 0. Red flag warning. Okay, got a flag on that play. Alright, so this actually is undefined. Alright, parallel lines. What we know about parallel lines is that they have equal slopes. If we think about this for a moment. Okay, so I've got a line here. Notice its y-intercept is there. A parallel line has exactly the same slope, but a different y-intercept. That means they're parallel. Alright, to determine if they're parallel lines, we find the slope of the 2 points on each line. Okay, so I'm going to go 4 minus 4 over 2 minus 1 over 6. All right, 4 minus 1 is 3. 2 minus 6 is a negative 4. So this slope is a negative 3/4. So now we're going to do the other one. So we have 1 over negative 3 minus a negative 2 minus a 1. So this is plus a positive, this is plus a negative. So 1 plus 2 is 3 over negative 1 plus negative 3 is negative 4. So yes, they are parallel. All right, and this next set, let's see. I have 6 over negative 7 minus 4 minus 0. 6 minus 4 is 2. Negative 7 minus 0 is still negative 7. On our second set, 5 over 1 minus negative 3, which is my y, minus negative 9. Plus a positive, plus a positive. So now I have 5 plus 3 is 8, over 9 plus 1 is 10. This simplifies to 4 over 5. No, not parallel. Perpendicular lines, on the other hand, have negative reciprocals. Reciprocal means you flip it or you 1 over. So the reciprocal of 3 is 1/3. This is reciprocal of 1/2 is 2. But remember, you can think of that as 3 over 1. So you're really just flipping it. And then you take the negative. So that would be the reciprocal, the perpendicular slope. All right, so let's look at negative 3. Well, the new reciprocal slope is going to be a positive, flip the sign, and flip the number, right? If there's a 1 under there, this becomes 1/3. This is already 1/3. The negative becomes a positive, and we flip it, and we end up with 3 over 1, which is 3. All right, this is a 5 over 1. It's a positive, so we make it negative, and we flip it 1/5. Those are perpendicular slopes. Okay, slope of a parallel line is the same. Perpendiculars, negative reciprocals or opposite reciprocal. Given the slope of the line, find the slope of a line that is parallel and one that is perpendicular. So, parallel, it's exactly the same. Perpendicular, flip the sign, flip the number. All right, parallel, exactly the same. Perpendicular, flip the sign, flip the number. Same as, oh, wait. Okay, this is a weird one. Y equals 9, so what's my slope? 0. So 0 rise over a run. Okay, another way to look at that would be, this could be written as slope-intercept, slope is 0. Slope is 0. Unfortunately, when you take the reciprocal, 1 over 0 is undefined. Oh, I'm sorry. I brought that back to sound, and there we go. Undefined. All right. M equals -6, so the slope is -6 of the parallel line reciprocal. negative becomes positive, and we flip the value. 2/3 here, negative 2/3, same value. Change the sign and flip the number. There we go. Okay, and we're done.